pen and paper. That would be helpful for our goal setting exercises. And also, if we are going to be spending a bit of time meditating, so if you want to grab a pillow, a cushion, a blanket, anything to help make you feel more comfortable, go ahead and grab your supplies.
All right, what do you think? Should we get started here?
Sure.
I think so. Okay, perfect. Well, thank you everyone for coming. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Kaytlin Hall, and I'm a financial advisor at Gerber Kawasaki. I have a quick little disclosure that I have to read, and then we will continue with our seminar. Just as a friendly reminder, the information that we will be sharing is for general information purposes only and is not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which course of action may be appropriate for you, always contact your financial advisor. Okay, so we know things are a little weird, I guess, to say the least right now in the world. So we thought we would try a different type of event. Today, Laurel and I will go over a few things that hopefully will help you with your mental, physical, and financial fitness. Laurel, I will let you start.
Thank you, Kaytlin. Hi, my name is Laurel. Greetings from my home in Santa Monica, where I live and am based. I've worked with Kaytlin personally for over 5 years now, through a lot of life transitions, some of which I'll explain during the seminar, and it's been an incredible benefit to me. And she didn't even ask me to say that. So thank you, Kaytlin, both for helping me with my financial stuff and also inviting me here today. A brief background about myself. I used to work in software startups for over 5 years, and a couple of years ago made the transition into becoming a fitness and health coach. And that just goes to say that in any type of realm or environment we're in, we can always switch and pivot and set different goals. Anything is really possible. So on that note, let's go ahead and start today with a brief meditation just to kind of ground, take ourselves away from the external into the internal, and then we can dive into some goal setting. So go ahead and make your way into a seated position, find a comfy space. And I see a lot of people don't have their camera on, which is totally fine. We are going to be having the option to close your eyes here. So make your way into a space that you find comfortable. I like to find a cross-legged seated position. And then once you're here, let's go ahead and start. You can either close your eyes or just let the eyelids softly gaze down towards the floor. And we're going to start by just getting all the wiggles out. So if you need to shift or move, do all that now. And then once you're in a position that feels good, go ahead and take one hand onto your heart and one hand onto your belly. And let's start by taking a couple deep breaths together. So breathing in through the nose, start to fill the space underneath your belly. And then fill the space underneath your chest. And then let it all go. Taking a couple more breaths like that. We'll do one more together. As you inhale, start to fill up halfway the space underneath the belly. Second half, feel the space underneath your chest rise. And then through the mouth, let it all go. Take a couple more breaths like this. Starting to become aware of a little bit deeper, a little bit slower breath than you might have been taking in your day. Allowing yourself to fill all the way up with air. And observing that flow of air as it enters in through the nose It makes its way into the body. Good. And take one more. And after your next exhale, go ahead and release your hands down onto your thighs. And starting to work from the outside in, observe any sounds you hear going on around you. Maybe even noticing silence. And just observing any sounds you hear, almost like taking notes in your mind. Trying not to attach any judgment or meaning, just observing. Good. Continuing to work inward, noticing any sensations you feel in your body. Maybe warmth, coolness, heaviness, tingling. See what's going on in your body. And then continuing to work into our body, just notice your feet, your bottom, the different parts of the body in contact with the floor. Imagining the floor is lifting up to support you. And then starting with the feet, maybe give the toes a wiggle and then let them completely relax. And start to scan up your body from the feet to the legs. Noticing any tension you're holding in your body. And seeing where you can use your exhales to release any of it. Just let some of that go. And I'll give you a moment to scan all the way up to your head. And letting our shoulders fall away from the ears. Finding a softness across your brow, and your jaw, and even letting your tongue be heavy. And sometimes it can be hard to make that shift from going and doing to sitting still. So allow yourself this time, this space to just be. And starting to shift the attention inward even more. Notice how you're feeling in your brain today. Maybe you're hungry, happy, sleepy. Just observing any thoughts, feelings, emotions that start to come up for you. And shifting that attention back into the breath. Observing that wave of breath as it enters into the nose and makes its way all the way down into the body and works its way out again. And as we go throughout our practice, you might notice your mind starting to wander, maybe going down the rabbit hole, and that's totally fine. The goal of meditation is not to abstain from thinking. It's to notice when we're thinking, what we're thinking, observe it, and gently shift that attention back into our bodies. So our tool today for our meditation is our breath. Noticing the feeling of breath, maybe even the sound of breath. I'm going to give you the next minute here, knowing that you always have your breath to come back to just let your brain go. See the journey that it wants to take today. And knowing that at any moment, you can always take a deep breath and come back into the body. So go ahead and take that minute here. And if your mind has started to wander, gently shift your attention back into your breathing. Maybe feeling the rise and fall of the chest. And as we are in a city, there are sounds, there are distractions. We're at home, things are going to come up. And if that happens, observe those too. Take note of what's happening and bring yourself back. And while you're here, take 3 more of the biggest, deepest, slowest breaths you've taken all day. Breathing all the way into the outermost seams of your body. And then after your last breath, as we start to bring ourselves back into the room, back into reality, you can keep your eyes closed and just start to give your fingers and toes a wiggle. And reintroducing some movement back into the body. And when you're ready, you can start to blink your eyes open. And then we're going to take our last breath together. So just like how we started, go ahead and take one hand to your chest, one hand to your belly. This time we're going to take a 3-part breath. So first part, go ahead and fill the space under your belly. Second part, fill the chest. Sip in a little more air, fill all the way up, draw your shoulders up by your ears, and then let it all go. One more together. Big inhale, fill the belly. Second part, fill the chest. Sip in even more. Let it all go. And I think we're ready to start working into some goal setting. So go ahead and just start to kind of shrug your shoulders around, reintroduce some movement. And as we start to work into our transition between meditation into goal setting, if you have a pen and paper, go ahead and grab that. And if you don't, see if you can grab something to take notes or write with. Ideally, we want to keep track of the work that we're doing today. You can always use your phone. Beautiful job meditating, everyone. There's not much to do. You just kind of close your eyes and go through it. So if you're a experienced meditator, you know the stuff. And if you're new to the practice, welcome. It's always a journey for me too. And let's go ahead and get started with some goal setting. So I'd like to start by having everyone think of one word to describe your current state of how you're feeling about your health and fitness. And so just brainstorming that, maybe writing that down. And just as a heads up, we're going to go through a goal setting practice together. And I am going to invite everyone to share if they feel comfortable at the end of this. So there's no pressure, there's no need, but we will kind of connect at some point so we can all hold ourselves accountable. But just to start, one word, where are you currently? Okay, we'll give us a couple more moments just to think about that one. And go ahead and write it down. I'll do mine. Okay. And now, once you have that word, I'd like you to think of another word of where you would like to be. And maybe your word is exactly the same. Best case scenario, that's fine. You can write down the same word. Or maybe something else comes to mind. And I encourage you not to overthink it. You pick the word, you can always go back and change it. But just starting to get in the practice of thinking forward. Where do we want to be? Go ahead and write down that second word. Where would you like to see yourself? That one word. All right. And so now that we have those words, we have some awareness of what we want to work towards. I'd invite everyone to take a look at the screen. Let's see. See if I can get my screen share going. Awesome. And change this. One moment. Okay, I got it. Here, 1 second. There we go. That's a little bit bigger. Let's see. And there we go. Okay. So let's see if I can make this any bigger. It seems to be sharing. Sorry about that. This is why I'm no longer working in software. Give me one moment. View. There we go. Can you guys see my screen, Kaytlin? No? Okay.
Alan might be able to share it if you can't.
Alan might be able to share. Can you see it now?
Now I can see it.
Now you can see it? Okay,
yep.
Cool. All right, let me go back a slide. And now we should be able to see it. All right, there we go.
There we go.
My apologies. I even tried this before my presentation today, but of course it just doesn't happen when you want it to happen. Meditation is finest. What do? Do we get stressed? Do we keep going? All right, so in the name of setting goals today, I wanted to touch on a practice that I call SMART goal setting. And a number of you might have heard of this in terms of jobs or in the past. If you haven't, this is new stuff. It's really great. And in terms of setting goals, oftentimes when I work with people, I work with a number of clients, both on the nutrition side and the fitness side, who tell me things such as, I want to become strong, or I want to feel good. And I love that. I'm all for feeling strong. I'm all for feeling good. But I encourage people to think SMART in terms of when they want to set a goal, because I've found that it usually equates to a lot more success in terms of getting what we desire. So walking through this quickly, a SMART goal is something that is specific. So instead of saying, I want to become strong, I encourage people to set a goal, something along the lines of, whatever pertains to them. I want to be able to do a push-up. I want to be able to lift my 7-year-old. It doesn't matter what it is. I want to eat salads every day for a week. Whatever the goal is, picking something that's specific really helps us focus our efforts and gives us more of a concrete end goal to work towards. M, measurable, just like having that one push-up, salad 5 days a week, whatever it is, when we pick something that we can actually measure, we're more apt to do it because it's not a theory, it's not an idea, it's something that you can look at, you can track, and you can say yes or no, I made those steps towards what I'm wanting, or no, I didn't, and we can reevaluate. A is attainable. I would not encourage someone who's never run before to aim for a marathon in a month. We want to think of things that are within reason, so that way we can actually get what we're wanting. And R is relevant, which I think is a pretty obvious one. If your goal, you're picking something that matters to you. And so we can also make sure that things are relevant to us by thinking, why do I want this? And when we really unpack some of that, we can see how relevant things are to us. And lastly is time bound, without some kind of time structure. We just have an idea floating in the ether. So picking a time frame that we want to achieve our goal is always very useful. So on that note, I would like to invite everyone with your pen and paper to take the next minute and, using the model of SMART, think of one goal that you would like to create for yourself when it comes to your health or your fitness. And this can be anything. And this is your personal goal. It doesn't matter what anyone else is doing. And it actually shouldn't be comparing yourself to anyone else that's out there. What matters most to you right now that'll help you feel the most good in your body? So go ahead and just take this minute, think about it, jot it down, always important. And I'm going to write mine down too. And after we take this time to write our goal down, we are going to open up and have the opportunity to share. All right. A little bit more. All right, so let's go ahead. And ideally, I'd love to hear at least 4 people share their goals. So feel free to unmute yourself, say your name, maybe where you're based, and let's hear it. Let's share.
Well, I can start. You know my name already, but my goals, I did 2 because I feel like they're both sort of smaller goals, but one of them is to drink more water because I'm not great about doing that right now. And then the other one is to eat a better lunch. Yesterday I had pretzels and blueberries for lunch, so that's not going to work. So I need to be better about eating a better lunch throughout the day.
Kaytlin, I love you dearly, and I'm gonna challenge you to go deeper.
Oh no, okay.
And this is a great example. I love this example because Kaytlin's my friend and I can kind of pick on her. So when you say more water, that's one of those great examples of what's more. So I would challenge you here to say, when you say more water, how much water, how frequently, what are we talking about?
I don't know.
Okay.
I know
it's like you're setting me up here and we didn't even talk about this. So a recommended amount of water is around 50% in ounces of your body weight.
Okay.
So you can go over, under, just give us a number, just a rough number. It doesn't matter what it is. It can be on the underside too.
So half of my body. Okay. So like somewhere between like 50 and 60 ounces of water a day.
Beautiful.
Okay.
And you added the per day in there. Okay. And then how many days a week do you want to do this?
Oh, every day.
Every day.
Every
Okay.
day.
So Kaytlin's going to drink between 50 and 60 ounces of water every day. I love it. And better lunches, we'll get to that one. We'll give someone else an opportunity to share as well. We'll get back to that one. Anyone else?
We'll start right now.
There you go.
Here, I'll go. Hi, my name is Angie, and I'm in Venice, California. So I have, just like Kaytlin, I listed a few goals, but I would say one of them is that I want to be able to hike up to Mescal in under 30 minutes. I actually just did it before the seminar, and I didn't even time it, but it was definitely over like 40, maybe 45. And it's a specific path that I always take. And I haven't done it for a long time. So I used to be able to do it in under 30 minutes. That was probably like maybe 15 plus years ago. But I'd like to be able to get back to that. So I would say in the next maybe month to month and a half, I'd like to be closer to 30 minutes than where I am now.
I love it. Angie, do you mind if I challenge you
Yes,
with one
please.
question? Okay. This is amazing. Everyone's doing perfectly. I love that because you gave yourself the distance, you gave yourself the time. Can we challenge you to pick a date by which you want to try and do it?
Yeah, so I had said a month to 6 weeks, but I guess I could say by the end of, what are we, May? So by June 30th?
Beautiful. Perfect.
Okay.
It doesn't matter what that time frame is, as long as it's significant to you and it's possible. So if you think that's possible, I love it.
Well, we'll see if
Amazing.
it's possible, but I'll go for it.
I like it. Anyone else? We'll try 2 more people.
I can go.
Yay!
Rochelle here. I think mine is a goal of mine, and I actually feel like I've been working towards this, but I'm not quite where I'd want to be, is to eat maybe 90%. So pretty much all meals except 1 or 2 where I just kind of enjoy whatever I want per week. Eating whole, real foods. And I mean, we all say that, but even just the sauce you put on or anything, there's always ingredients that, were combined or put together. You don't necessarily make all the sauces yourself, or you get something that was somewhat pre-made and then you add a little something, and that is in some way was pre-processed. So like 90% whole real foods in my meals, giving myself, 1 or 2 meals per week where I'm not, where I'm just letting go and enjoying whatever I want to eat.
Beautiful. And when do you want to start?
Now. I would say honestly, yeah, I'm at like, I don't know, 65, 70%, just because there's a lot of, it's more little things. I'm like, ooh, I want to put this sauce on here. And then I'm like, oh, what's that in that sauce? It's just that kind of thing.
It's really hard.
It is. Yeah, it's really tricky. I'm like, do I have to make all my sauces and all my yeah, I'd say now might not be attainable. So let's say over the next month to work myself towards there.
I love it. There was a shift there of what's realistic, right? She thought about it. Can I do this in this second, in this moment? And she said, maybe not. Like, I'm going to take a month to kind of work into that. I love that. Thanks, Roche.
Yep.
Anyone else? Well, I don't want to put anyone on the spot. If anyone is on here and doesn't necessarily feel comfortable sharing with the group, I've tossed my contact information on the screen. So feel free to reach out to me directly and we can chat about it. My goal is I want to be able to run a 10K by the end of June. I hate running, like a lot. I'm not a runner. I'm a, HIIT, yogi, Pilates, meditator. And over this whole quarantine, I've, mile by mile kind of been working my way up to it. So that's my personal goal. And I appreciate those who shared a lot. To kind of wrap up our goal setting, I like to do an activity called the 5-minute action. And the 5-minute action is one thing you can do right now to work yourself towards your goal. And sometimes I find people get stuck. We have these goals and we get busy or we get tired or sidetracked, whatever it is. And at any point you can pause and just take 5 minutes to kind of reset. So our 5-minute action today is going to have a specific purpose, and we don't need 5 minutes to do it. It's just an example. I'd like you to take the next minute and think of one action that you can do every day to work towards your goal. And so this idea is we don't go from 0 to 100. We go from 0 to 10. We go from 10 to 20, and we keep going increment by increment. And the more we can break down those goals, the easier it is. So Rochelle could try and substitute, one additional sauce per week that she makes herself. Or Rochelle could even decide, I'm going to make a grocery list that helps me buy those ingredients so I can make things myself, whatever it might be. Or, Angie doing Temescal, going for a walk a couple times a week, whatever it is. So go ahead and take the next 1 minute. Our 5-minute action will actually be 1 minute. But you get the idea to think about one thing you can do every day to work towards that goal. So go ahead and write that down. All right. Good. So my daily was I'm going to try and move 30 minutes a day. So either walking, running, whatever it is, just getting my body in motion. So that's one example. And you can pick something that's really personal to you. And while I wrap up my segment, before I hand this over to Kaytlin, something we kind of touched on in our meditation was tools. We have that tool of the breathing. So when we veer off course, we bring ourselves back via the breath. And I think we're only as strong as our tools. And tools can be anything. It can be our friendships, our networks, what we put in our pantry. And so I encourage you to share these goals with someone really close to you. You can email them to me. I know meditation is something that I try and do on a daily basis, but sometimes I fall off. I get busy, I come up with excuses. And so when that happens, I'll text 5 of my friends and say, hey guys, meditation May challenge. We're going to go, every day in May, and we're going to text each other when we've done it to stay accountable. So think of ways that you can not only have these goals within yourself, but also build up tools to help you reach them, maybe through loved ones or other actions. So that's my part. Again, my name is Laurel. I'd love to hear from everyone here. Thank you so much for your time. And now I'm going to hand it over to Kaytlin for some financial related stuff.
Unmuting myself would probably be a little bit helpful. Thank you, Laurel. So, we did a great session on the meditation and fitness, but I want to kind of circle back and bring it to finances too. With so much uncertainty in the world, it's important to think about and prioritize your financial goals. So what are some of your long-term goals? What are some of your short-term goals? Some of the most common goals that I hear from my clients are, becoming more educated in finances, financial organization and awareness, buying a house, saving for kids' college, and planning for retirement. If you haven't thought about your goals recently, I challenge you to do so over the next month before we check in. I know your goals, or I know my goals are a little different than they were a few years ago. I'm no longer saving for a wedding, but I'm focusing more on college savings for my son. Unfortunately, that's not the case for my sister because her wedding was postponed this year, but some goals just have to be readjusted. Another exercise I want you to do is work on your budget. So Alan, if you could put up that budget page, that would be wonderful. Okay, so if we've worked together, you've probably seen this page many times from our meetings. And a financial plan is based on a solid budget. From your budget, we can determine how much you need to keep liquid in the bank for an emergency, and it helps determine how much you can save towards the rest of your goals. Your bank savings is very important, especially in times like this when a lot of people have uncertain incomes. Ideally, you want to have about 6 months of your fixed living expenses liquid in the bank. fixed living expenses are not the same as monthly spending. When you think of your fixed living expenses, I want you to think of things that you have to pay for regardless of your income. So, your rent, your mortgage, car payment, groceries, things like that. I would not include, like extra things, dining out, shopping, which can certainly rack up the spending. So, as a reminder we want to do this as a session. I don't think we mentioned that in the beginning, but we want to have a follow-up session for accountability, like Laurel was talking about earlier, like she has with her friends. So we want to have another check-in in about a month from now. So you kind of have your assignment from Laurel. My assignment to you is to write down your short and long-term financial planning goals, as well as to work on this budget page before we meet. If you have any questions regarding, financial goals before next month, please feel free to reach out to me individually. Does anybody have any questions? Oh, Angie.
Yeah.
Oh, Laurel, everyone has questions.
Go ahead, Angie. I'll say my note last.
So I was going to ask, I have seen the worksheet before, but something you could send me so I could use it to work some things out on my own.
We have a few things that we want to send to everybody. I think Laurel will probably touch on this too, but we have the budget sheet, and then Laurel has, I think she was going to talk about Headspace, right? There's a link for Headspace that we talked about. So we will get that out so people have resources to work on over the next month.
Can I do a follow-up question too? So because of what's going on with COVID, right, I feel like our income, I don't feel as secure with our income as I might have before. I'm assuming I should take that into consideration when doing our current budget.
Yeah, I think you want to, like, when you're looking at your budget though, you want to think of what your expenses are, right? Like, does it really matter if you're making 20 or 30% less now than before? Like, you still have to pay your mortgage. It doesn't really, matter what those expenses are. So, I want you to look at, I think doing two budgets is maybe a good idea. What do you actually spend monthly, but then also a budget of like, what are truly those fixed expenses if there was an emergency? And then, this is more individual basis, but I can, work with you individually and figure out, what that number is to actually keep in the bank. But I know you're not alone.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
Perfect. Yeah. Was there anybody else? I don't think I can see everybody, but I don't know if anyone else has any questions. Nope. Okay. Well, we will send out or Laurel, I'll let you kind of touch on Headspace. I'm not sure if people know that.
Yeah. So one thing I did want to know is that the importance of kind of being open and willing to shift your goals. And, things in life never stop happening, and a goal that you might have while pregnant might be different than a goal you have while retiring, or a goal you might have in quarantine. It might be a little different. And it's always okay to change them. We don't have to be rigid about any of this stuff, except having our savings. That's a good thing to keep in mind. But just be willing to kind of adapt to the environment, especially now. And a tool that I really like that I use to kind of stay present, stay grounded is Headspace. It's a meditation app. And they're actually offering free subscriptions to anyone who lives in LA. It's an LA-based company, as well as anyone who's unemployed. So we'll go ahead and share that link. I'll toss it in the chat. And Kaytlin, if you're going to send a follow-up email, we can do that as well. But that's a really great resource just to kind of stop, take a moment, kind of reset every day and come back to what really matters. So thank you.
Perfect. Well, then we'll send you guys out those resources, and keep your eyes out for another invitation for our second session of our seminar in financial and mental fitness, hopefully in about a month from now.
And I'll go ahead and toss the Headspace link in the chat right now. So if anyone wants to check that out, go for it.
Perfect. Okay. Well, thanks, Laurel, and thanks everybody for coming. Have a great, I don't know what day of the week it is, Thursday. And,
That's perfect.
we will see you hopefully all soon. Stay safe and stay healthy. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you.